Okay, Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat Shalom. We are back,
Yeah.
continuing with our look at the triennial Torah portion. This week, we are going to be looking at Deuteronomy 32. Deuteronomy 32, which happens to be for the most part, the Song of Moses. The Song of Moses. And it's going to be entitled Give Ear. Give Ear.
Oh yeah.
Okay, so we're looking at, when we looked, if we remember, I guess we had a week off. So we looked over in Deuteronomy 31. It's kind of a whole build up, Chapter 31 was a build up to chapter 32, getting us ready to go into chapter 32 in the Song of Moses. So this chapter essentially is in its entirety that. So we want to go ahead and look at it, and we'll just read it. There's plenty to talk about over here. A couple major things that we're going to deal with. So let me go ahead and pull that up for us so that we can look at that. Hold on one second here. Look at our scriptures. All right, let us go ahead and read through chapter 32. Then we'll go back and talk about what we have inside of it here. Nice and loud, starting with verse 1. 2.
Says, "Give ear, O heavens, and let me speak, and hear, O earth, the words of my mouth. Let my instruction fall as rain, my speech drop down as dew, as fine rain on the tender plants, and as showers on the grass. For I proclaim the name of Yahweh. Ascribe greatness to our Elohim. The rock, his work is perfect, for all his ways are right ruling, an L of truth, and without unrighteousness. Righteous and straight is he. A twisted and crooked generation has corrupted itself, their blemish. They are not his children. Do you do this to Yahweh, O foolish and unwise people? Is he not your father who bought you, who created you and established you? Remember the days of old, consider the years of many generations. Ask your father, and let him show you your elders, and let them say to you, when the Most High gave the nations their inheritance, When he separated the sons of Adam, he set the boundaries of the peoples according to the number of the children of Israel. For the portion of Yahweh is his people, Yaakov, his allotted inheritance. He found him in a wilderness and in a wasted, howling desert. He encompassed him. He made him understand. He watched over him as the apple of his eye, as an eagle stirs up its nest, flutters over its young, spreading out its wings, taking them up and bearing them on its wings. Yahweh alone led him, and there was no strange mighty one with him. He made him ride in the heights of the earth, and he ate the fruits of the field, and he made him to draw honey from the rock, and oil from the flinty rock, curds from the cattle, and milk from the flock, with fat of lambs and rams, and rams of the breed of Bashan, and goats with the choicest wheat, and you drink wine, the blood of the grapes. But Yeshurun grew fat and kicked. You grew fat, you grew thick, you are covered with fat. So he forsook Eloah, who made him, and scorned the rock of his deliverance. They moved him to jealousy with foreign matters, with abominations they provoked him. They slaughtered to demons, not Eloah, mighty ones they did not know. New ones who came lately, which your fathers did not fear. You neglected the rock who brought you forth, and forgot the El who fathered you. And Yahweh saw and despised because of the provocation of his sons and his daughters. And he said, let me hide my face from them. Let me see what their end is, for they are a perverse generation. Children in whom there is no trusting. They made me jealous, but by what is not El. They provoked me with their worthless matters. But I made them jealous by those who are no people. I provoked them with a foolish nation. For a fire was kindled in my wrath, and burns to the bottom of Sheol, and consumes the earth and its increase, and sets on fire the foundations of mountains. I gather evils upon them, I use up my arrows upon them, wasted by scarcity of food, and consumed by heat and bitter destruction. And the teeth of beasts I send upon them, with the poison of serpents of the dust. The sword bereaves from the outside, and fear from within, both young man and maiden nursing child with the man of gray hairs. I said I should blow them away. I should make the remembrance of them to cease from among men. If I did not fear the enemy's taunt, lest their adversaries misunderstand, lest they say our hand is high, and Yahweh has not done all this. For they are a nation lost to counsel, and there is no understanding in them. If they are wise, they would understand this. They would consider this latter and their latter end. How would one chase 1,000 and two put 10,000 to flight, unless their rock had sold them, and Yahweh had given them up? For their rock is not like our rock, even our enemies are judges. Their vine is of the vine of Sedum, and of the fields of Amarah. Their grapes are grapes of gall, their clusters are bitter. Their wine is the poison of serpents, and the fierce venom of cobras. Is it not stored up with me, sealed up among my treasures? Vengeance is mine, and repayment at the time their foot slips. For near is the day of their calamity, and the matters prepared are hastening to them. For Yahweh rightly rules his people and has compassion on his servants when he sees that their power is gone, and there is no one remaining, shut up or at large. And he shall say, where are their mighty ones, the rock in whom they sought refuge, who ate the fat of their slaughterings, and drank the wine of their drink offering? Let them arise and help you. Let it be a hiding place for you. See now that I am he, and there is no Elohim besides me. I put to death and I make alive. I have wounded and I heal. And from my hand no one delivers. For I lift my hand to the heavens and shall say, as I live forever, if I have sharpened my flashing sword, and my hand takes hold on judgment, I shall return vengeance to my enemies, and repay those who hate me. I make my arrows drunk with blood, and my sword devours flesh, with the blood of the slain and the captives from the long-haired enemy chiefs. O nations, acclaim his people, for he avenges the blood of his servants, and returns vengeance to his adversaries, and shall pardon his land, his people. Then Moshe came with Hoshea son of Nun, and spoke all the words of this song in the hearing of the people. And when Moshe ended speaking all these words to all Israel, he said to them, set your hearts on all the words with which I warn you today, so that you command your children to guard to do all the words of this Torah. For it is not a worthless word for you, because it is your life. And by this word you prolong your days on the soil which you pass over the Yarden to possess. And Yahweh spoke to Moshe that same day, saying, go up this mountain of the Abarim, Mount Nebo, which is the land of Moab, which is opposite Jericho, and look at the land of Canaan, which I give to the children of Israel as a possession, and die on the mountain which you ascend, and be gathered to your people, as Aaron your brother died on Mount Or, and was gathered to his people, because you trespassed against me in the midst of the children of Israel at the waters of Meribah Kadesh, in the wilderness of Sin. Because you did not set me apart in the midst of the children of Israel. For you are to look at the land before you, but not enter there, into the land which I am giving the children of Israel.
All right. Very good. All right, let us go back. You see, when we look at this song of Moses, there's so many things that can be spoken about. I've picked out a few key points. Of course, if anyone has any thoughts, questions, comments about any of the verses that we go over and don't mention, just put it in the comments. We'll certainly get to the comments that are in there. But I want to go back over here, look at where we get started over here, how this chapter starts, where it says, give ear. Give ear. Give ear. Ha'azinu. Give ear. So let's look at this over here and see this is how Moshe begins this song. This song, by the way, when we look at this over here, again, if we remember from last chapter, here we don't have to remember, we can just go back a little bit. Let's see here. Oh wait. Hold on a second here. Let me just say that. Oh, it's actually in this chapter here. 46, where he says, "Set your heart on all the words with which I warn you today." These words within this song, this song of Moses, this is something. So that you command your children to guard to do all the words of this Torah. Something that we don't necessarily think about, in regards to, things that we, as Israel, are able to do. There's so many things that we can't do, different sacrifices and offerings, the way in which we celebrate the feast days. There's so many things. There's more things that we're not able to do in regards to the Torah than there is that we can do. But one thing that we can in fact do is remember the Song of Moses and teach it to our children. It's something that, when we look at this chapter and understanding, as we'll go through it more here, understanding the actual message that is within the chapter, a good portion of it deals with understanding who the Most High is and how he dealt with his people Israel, and our unfortunate response to the Most High, which should be, and consequences behind it, which should be something that helps us to stay in the good graces of the Most High. And so learning the Song of Moses, understanding the message of the Song of Moses, is only something that can only be for our good. And so, it's just one of those things that's, kind of overlooked. But it seems that there's kind of great importance that's laid upon the words of this chapter in this song. So again, let's go back. Let's go back to the beginning here. Look at this word here, where it even begins, where it says give ear. Give ear. That word there in the Hebrew is azan. Azan, to expand, but used only as a denominative from 241 to broaden out the ear with the hand. Kind of like, how you broaden out the ear with your hand, right? Because you can't literally expand your ear. It's affixed to your head with the cartilage in the skin. You can't really expand it. But the idea is to, to make this thing broaden so that things that are coming towards it can be caught and can go up in your ear hole. Right? So when we think about the idea of listen, right, here is different from Shema, which deals with the hearing and the obedience to what you've heard. But to give ear to Azan is more of a preparation to Shema, right? It's getting ready to hear and obey, to making yourself ready, right? It's kind of a preparation, right? I'm about to tell you something.
Get your ear ready.
Get your ears ready, right? And that's what you would be doing by, if I'm like, I know something's good's about to happen. Let me broaden my ear, okay? And so when we look at this word here, azan, this is what we see. And so, it also helps us when we think about, what it is that Moshe is beginning to be doing over here. He's about to be giving you this thing that he calls for you to remember, that he calls for you to teach unto your children, right? He's preparing, he's causing you to prepare to get ready, right? To broaden, to open your minds to hear. Even when you think about, Yeshua, with the saying, he who has an ear to hear and an eye to see, right? That, if you're thinking about the idea of having an ear to hear, right? Everybody has an ear, right? Everybody has eyes. But we have to get our minds right and ready to receive things. We could very easily be sitting in the presence of someone speaking and not hear a word that was spoken. Right? Just because you sit in there don't mean that you've actually given an ear, right? Just because you're sitting there doesn't mean that you've actually azaned, right? And so, again, as Moshe begins to get ready, it's kind of this introduction thing to the hearers to cause their minds and ears to be ready to receive the things that he's about to say. All right. So he speaks these words. He says, give ear to, he says, O heavens, O earth. Right? He's speaking to the heavens and he's speaking to the earth, which is interesting because, when we see this thing over here with this idea of speaking to the heavens and speaking to the earth, it kind of gives us the idea of, Moshe wanting for the things that he is going to be saying, wanting for these things to be something that are declared to those on the earth and to kind of be, witnessed or accepted or received in the heavens. When we think about the idea of letting things be so on earth as they are in heaven, right? When we think about the idea of the ways that have been established in the heavenlies, for those things to be established in earth. When we think about the idea of the heavens hearing what it is that we would have to say, it's not as if you would be saying a thing and in the heavens it would be like, oh wow, what an interesting thing that this human is saying, right? Because when we think about the idea of the heavens, right, we're dealing with the place where the Most High dwells, right? The dwelling place of the Almighty, who is all-knowing, right? He's all-knowing. And so you're not necessarily giving new words from your mouth to the heavens. You're agreeing with the ideas that in fact originate from the heavens. You're bearing witness of the things that originate in the heavens, and you're making these things known to those in the earth. And so when we see this first verse over here, the idea is more of letting the people, the hearers who are in earth, know that these things that are being spoken are things that are in agreement with those that are in heaven. If I was going to have things to say about someone, and the someone that I had things to say about was in my presence, but I wasn't speaking to him, I was speaking to somebody else, I might say, if I have something to say about Hiskey, I'm not talking to Hiskey, I'm talking to my wife about Hiskey, right? I could say give ear to both people that are in my presence, but I'm really speaking to my wife. I'm only speaking about the other person. And so the same thing is true when we think about what's going on in Deuteronomy 32 and verse 1. He's not introducing anything to the heavens, right? And as we go on, we what we see is more of a description of the one who whose foundation is in the heavens. It's more of a description of who the Most High is, right? And so he's saying all of these things. Moshe is about the Most High, who's in the heavens, to those that are in the earth, and he's basically bearing witness to what is in the heavens. And so I want to look at a couple things over here in regards to this. If we look back, let's go back to the previous chapter. Read for us verse 21 here. Let me make it big for us here. Read verse 21.
And it shall be, when many evils and distresses come upon them, that this song shall answer before them as a witness. For it is not to be forgotten in the mouths of their seed. For I know their thoughts which they are forming today, even before I bring them to the land which I swore to give them.
Okay, very good. So we see over here the Most High, he's all knowing. He's given this song to the people for the people to remember, you know, when these evils and these distresses come upon them. This is something that would be helpful for them in those times, right? But what we want to pay attention to is that this song shall answer before them as a witness. There are things that are being said in this psalm that bear witness to both the character of Israel, the desired character of Israel, the actual character of Israel, and the character of the Most High. All of these things are being witnessed in the words, in and by the words of this song. And so it's interesting that when we think about the idea of witnesses, in regards to this over here, these things are life and death situations. These are matters of life and death. Let's go back another chapter. Let's look at verse 15 here. Read 15. Start reading at 15 and go down to 19.
See, I have set before you today life and good, and death and evil. And that I am commanding you today to love Yahweh your Elohim, to walk in his ways, and to guard his commands, and his laws and his right rulings. And you shall live and increase, and Yahweh your Elohim shall bless you in the land which you go to possess.
Okay, so the Most High here is giving the people a choice, options, right? I'm giving you life today or death. I'm giving you good today or evil. The life part, the good part, is about love. The love of the Most High. Walking in his ways. Guarding his commands. And his laws and his right rulings. When you do these things, you'll live. This is life. And there'll be increase and blessings to you. Right? This is life. Right? But 17 says, what 17 say?
But if your heart turns away and you do not obey, and shall be drawn away, and shall bow down to other mighty ones and serve them, I have declared to you today that you shall certainly perish.
Death.
You shall not prolong your days in the land which you are passing over the Yarden to enter and possess.
Okay, 19.
I have called the heavens and the earth as witnesses today against you. I have set before you life and death, the blessing and the curse. Therefore you shall choose life, so that you live, both you and your seed. Okay, we have today heaven and earth as witnesses today of this life or death situation.
These witnesses, right? Those that are able to be called as witnesses to the good and the evil, to life and death. Life being obedience to the Most High and the things that the Most High has established for his people, and death being the rejection thereof, right? And so when we think about this life and death situation, life and death situations being very serious, what do we see over here? What does it say in verse 15?
One witness does not rise up against a man concerning any crookedness or any sin that he commits. At the mouth of two witnesses, or at the mouth of three witnesses, a matter is established.
when we talking about these life or death situations, we got to have two witnesses. Right? There got to be two witnesses when we dealing with these life or death situations. And so Moshe over here, he's dealing with essentially this principle, these serious life or death matters, and including these two witnesses. Right? He's not just speaking to the people from his own words and his own mouth. He's not up here talking these self-fulfilling prophecies where he sit up here and have all of these things to say about his own self. But he is speaking things that are true in heaven to the people in earth. And the people in earth are able to see, in fact, that the things that is being spoken are in fact true because they've witnessed the things.
Mm-hmm.
Let's look over at. Let's go back in Deuteronomy some more. What's 4 and 26? What's this say? Moshe does this all the time. This is how he talks. Go ahead.
I shall call the heavens and earth to witness against you on that day, so that you soon completely perish from the land which you pass over the Jordan to possess. You do not prolong your days in it, but are completely destroyed.
He's all about calling heaven and earth to witness against, for or against the people. He's all about it. Because the things that he's declaring are things that are true in the heavens. He's declaring them. They're true in the heavens. And they're also true in the earth. He's not saying these, he's not as if he's speaking these secret things that are only true in his own mind. Right? These are known facts. Undisputed truth that is true absolutely and universally. Okay, he's saying these things. It's another way to think about this. He's saying, like, if I'm saying a thing, and there's potentially some discrepancy, inconsistency in the thing that I'm saying, and I know it, maybe I'll say it a little softly, right? It'll be secretly. I don't want everybody to hear what I'm saying because I don't want someone to come and say, "Wait a second, this is not the case. That's not true what you're saying." But Moshe here is making this declaration to the heavens, to the people, and so that everyone can know and understand what's being said. Nothing hidden, right? But again, these are things that are true in the heavens. He's not speaking his own words, his own thoughts, right? His own purposes and things. He's not speaking these self-fulfilling prophecies, right? I just was made aware of this thing where this person, had this prophecies, or he's prophesying, quote unquote, speaking all of these things that the Most High is saying about his own self. Like, it's one thing for someone, for someone to speak a word from the Most High about someone else, but not your own self. Like this is how we operate in this thing over here. The difference is when we see over here, this is Moshe speaking about the Most High. He's speaking about the Most High.
Yep.
And he's allowing for the people to be able to understand that which comes from the Most High. He's not sitting up here saying, Moses, the greatest man that there is, you should have all of these things in your mind about me, and I am so great, and listen to what I say. He's speaking about the Most High. And he's letting you know what the character of the Almighty is and what our response is as well. Yeshua didn't even do that when he could have. Yeshua wasn't even like, you should be listening to me. I am the best thing, the best person that there is or ever will be, and all the things that I say are true. If we look over in John, the way that the Most High spoke, Yeshua spoke about himself, he gave you a reason to listen to what he said, but the way in which he did it was like this. Start reading over here in verse 30.
Of myself I am unable to do any matter. As I hear, I judge, and my judgment is righteous, because I do not seek my own desire, but the desire of the Father who sent me.
Okay, we can trust Yeshua in his judgment. We can trust Yeshua in his righteousness, not because of his own righteousness or his own judgment, but because of the Most High, because of his Father who sent him. Right? Of myself, I'm unable to do anything. These things aren't something that are derived from me, Yeshua is saying. These things derive from my Father who sent me. 31.
If I bear witness of myself, my witness is not true.
If I'm sitting up here, Yeshua is saying, if I'm sitting up here just bearing witness to my own self, don't believe the things that I'm sitting up here saying. If I'm sitting up here saying, well, the Most High said about me that this, that, and the other thing. If I'm sitting up here bearing witness of my own self, that witness is a lie. Keep on going.
There is another who bears witness of me, and I know that the witness which he witnesses of me is true.
Mm-hmm.
You have sent to Yohanan, and he bore witness to the truth.
Mm-hmm. Yeshua got people saying stuff about him. Oh, this one Yeshua who's coming up here, Yochanan, was like, oh, this is the Lamb of Elohim. He wants me to sit up here and immerse him, but I'm not even worthy to unlatch the straps on his shoes. This man is great, sent from the Most High. That's what is being said about Yeshua. Right? And so the heavens have given that knowledge to Yochanan, where he's speaking it about Yeshua. Right? And so we have this predecessor of Yeshua who's preparing the people to accept this one who's coming, as well as prophecies that were fulfilled by Yeshua. But keep on going. 34.
But I do not receive witness.
Hold on, wait a second. I just seen this over here. Prophet lying. First I was like, oh, is that a typo? Prophet lying. Oh, that's cracking me up. Okay, keep on going.
But I do not receive witness from man,
but I say this in order that you might be saved.
Keep on going.
He was the burning and shining lamp, and for a while you wished to rejoice in his light.
Yeah.
But I have a greater witness than that of Yohanan for the works that the Father gave me to accomplish, but the works that I do bear witness of me, that the Father has sent me.
Okay, so Yeshua is not only over here just saying, I am this person sent by the Most High. He's saying, these things that I'm doing, bear witness of me, that the Most High sent me. He's not out here saying this, that, and the other thing necessarily. He's out here healing the sick. He's out here causing the dumb to speak. He's out here causing the deaf to hear. He's out here causing the lame to walk. Right? He's out here doing the will of the Most High. And these things are bearing witness that he is sent from above. Right? There's a witness that is not of his own self. If he's the only one saying it, it can't be true. Because the thing that we're talking about here is life or death situation. And a life or death situation can't just be the individual only speaking it. There has to be 2 or 3 witnesses, right? Keep on going. 37.
And the Father who sent me, he bore witness of me. You have neither heard his voice at any time nor seen his form.
Wait a second. The Father who sent me bore witness of me. A couple chapters ago, when Yeshua is immersed, the people that was there heard a voice and saw a dove come down, the Spirit come down like a dove, and say, "This is my Son in whom I am well pleased." Those people bore witness to the Most High, agreeing with Yeshua and who he is. Right? There's this witness outside of Yeshua agreeing, proclaiming this truth to the people. Okay, 38.
And do not have his word staying in you, because you do not believe him whom he sent. You search the scriptures because you think you possess everlasting life in them. And these are the ones that bear witness of me.
The scriptures bear witness of Yeshua. The Most High bears witness of Yeshua. The scriptures bear witness of Yeshua. Yochanan bears witness of Yeshua. He's not dealing in these self-fulfilling things. And so the things that he speaks, because he has the backing of the Most High, because he has the backing of the prophets that have come before him, we're able to accept these things that he is saying. And so it's the same idea when Moshe says, "Give ear, heavens and earth." I'm saying these things, but they're not just these things that I'm saying. These are things that are true in the heavens and in the earth. Okay, keep on going.
But you do not desire to come to me in order to possess life. I do not receive esteem from men. But I know you, that you do not have the love of Elohim in you. I have come in my Father's name, and you do not receive me. If another comes in his own name, him you would receive.
44.
How are you able to believe when you are receiving esteem from one another, and the esteem that is from only Elohim you do not see? Do not think that I shall accuse you to the Father. There is one who accuses you, Moshe, in whom you have set your expectation. For if you believed Moshe, you would have believed me, since he wrote about me. But if you do not believe his writings, how shall you believe my words?
Okay, and so again, we have this idea of Yeshua. Yeshua is not speaking his own words. He's speaking the words of his Father. Yeshua is not speaking his own words. He's speaking the words of Moshe. Moshe spoke about him. And these people, if they really understood who the Most High was, they would know that Moses wrote about him. But they don't believe the witness because they don't understand. Again, we look at what's being said in terms of this idea of giving ear, O heavens, giving ear, O earth. This idea of us here on earth understanding that which is true on earth and allowing for that truth to be manifest on earth. Yeshua, whenever he teaches his disciples about praying in Matthew, in the book of Matthew, chapter 6, he said, verse 10, read verse 10 right there.
Verse 10, let your reign come, let your desire be done on earth as it is in heaven.
He said, let your will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Let the things that are true in the heavens be true and manifest in the earth. That which has been declared and deemed acceptable in the heavens, let those things be so on earth. Let your will, let the Most High's will be done here through me and in me. Okay, so when we think about all of these things over here in Deuteronomy 32, with Moshe over here, give here, O heavens, and let me speak. And hear, O earth, the words of my mouth. He's making this declaration and saying, I need for you people to know that the things that I'm speaking, that I'm declaring, is the truth. And these things are true in the heavens. If I'm a lie, the heavens could hear me and they could correct me as I speak. But these things are true in the heavens, and therefore you should allow your ears to receive these truths that I'm speaking. When we think about the idea of vowels, you know, these things that you allow to come out of your mouth, right? The assumption should be that things that you are speaking are truth, because you're declaring these things, and you're allowing for these words to come out of your mouth. And so therefore the Most High holds you to your words and treats them as if they are the truth, and holds you accountable to the things that you say if you allow for those things to creep up from behind your teeth and up off of your tongue. Okay? And so again, this this Moshe, this is a song. And so these things that he is saying, you know, they have great importance and significance, right? All right, what do we have over here? King Yeshua was the word that Moshe was speaking. The word was made flesh. This is what made the naysayers marvel. Yes. Hallelujah. Yeshua was, in fact, the word of Elohim made flesh, right? He had the words of Moshe, the words of the Most High, that were able to bear witness of who he was. Right? Okay, so let's keep on going over. Let's look at chapter 2. He said, chapter 32, verse 2, let my instructions fall as rain. Let my teaching drop as the rain. My speech drop down as dew. Right? This word, let's look at this over here. Let's see here. Let my instructions, the King James says, my doctrine. For some reason, people don't like that word, doctrine. For whatever reason. People shy away from doctrine, this word. But this word that's been translated as doctrine, where this thing that Moshe is saying that he wants to drop like rain, this word is lechach. Something that is something received. It's simply this thing that he's giving, right? That you're receiving, right? Because again, we're dealing with this word azan, which you've already prepared yourself to receive, and now you're getting it, right? He said, give ear, O heavens, and let me speak. Let the earth hear the words of my mouth. Azan. Expand your ears. Let my teaching, this thing that you receive, right? Get ready to receive it, azan. Let my teachings drop as rain. Receive it, right? Something that is received, that is mentally instruction, whether on part of teacher or hearer. Also in an active and sinister sense. Inveiglement. Inveiglement. That's an interesting word. Doctrine, learning, fair speech. Right? And so, again, we have this idea Moshe is wanting for the people, the hearers of what he's about to say, to get yourself ready and to receive these things that I'm saying. Receive these words. Let them drop like rain. You think about raindrop, rain, that stuff be dropping. When you out in that rain, that stuff just coming and coming. Right? There's no end to the dropping of things. Right? Rain just comes and it just, you ever just been outside and it's just raining? And it's just raining, and you just, we miss out on the magnitude of rain, because we're always trying to shield ourselves from the rain, with umbrellas and getting up underneath of things, this and that. But there's been so many times that, especially coming from like work or something where I'm not walking around carrying an umbrella, where I got to get from A to be and it's raining, I'm really able to experience what it is for something to drop as rain, because he's giving you this this imagery. He wants for his teachings to drop as the rain drops. The way in which the rain drops, that's how this thing that he wants for you to receive, how he wants for it to be dropping. But if we're not out in the rain, we're always trying to shield ourselves from the experience that the rain gives, how can we even understand this thing that he's saying? We don't want for the, we try to escape the rain.
There's never been a time I was like, oh yeah, let me just go out in the rain.
We never do. You're always trying to escape it. However, there are times when you can't escape it. When something is coming as the rain truly is this inescapable thing. Like you can't get away from it. You can't turn it off. Yeah. You can't stop it. it comes and it does what it wants to do. The rain does. When it falls, when it comes, it rains, and if you escape the rain, you certainly haven't escaped the effects of the rain. You may have came in from the rain, but the rain's still going on. It's still falling. And when you go out, everything's still going to be wet because of it. Okay? But he's talking about this thing that he wants for the people to receive. Like rain. My speech distill as the dew. My speech. My speech. Here, let's see this. Drop as the dew. Does the dew drop? The dew's slightly different from the rain, isn't it? Because dew, it just appears. Right? Dew, it doesn't fall from the sky. It appears out of the atmosphere. Right? Here, let's look at this. He said, my speech shall distill. What's this word? Drip or shred. Shed by trickling. Distill, drop. Distill. I like this word distill, because in distill you have the idea of this cycle, this process. Something is distilled. Right there, you have that whole condensation situation where you have the solid that vaporizes and turns into a gas and then comes back to liquid form out of nowhere, I guess. And so when we look at this in terms of this word that is the King James translate as distill. I like that word there. But when you think about this distill, may my speech distill as dew. The water, dew, something that appears as dew. That's what that's what dew does. It just appears there. Right? It just shows up. It just comes. Right? Which is interesting because, this kind of points us towards this idea of thinking about these things now from a spiritual standpoint. Right? Because dew comes from something that you can't see.
Yep.
What do it say over here? What do this say right here?
Mommy.
Read for us verse read 7 and 8 right there.
Do not marvel that I said to you, you have to be born from above. The wind blows where it wishes, and you hear the sound of it, but do not know where it comes from and where it goes. So is everyone who has been born of the Spirit.
Okay, we think about these things which are spiritual. They come from a place that is intangible. Right? They come from a place that's non-corporal. Right? They come from a place that's not a physical situation. But it's there though. Just like the wind. The wind blows, but there's no fan. Right? There's not a thing that you see that's causing the wind, the air to move. But it's moving though. It's coming from somewhere. but you can't see from which it comes. Right? And so likewise, when we think about these things that Moshe is speaking over here, he's speaking these words. These words are truth that he's speaking. But just like how Yeshua was talking, the words, they're not his words. They're not things that are concerning himself. These are things that are describing the Most High, who's on high. You feel his effects. You understand that he's there, right? But you don't know where it comes from or where it goes. Like it says over here in John 3 and 8. Do as a continued spiritual watering, even when the rain isn't falling. Yeah. Very good. All right, let's go back over there to Deuteronomy. All right, let's drop down to. Huh?
Did you see here's the comment?
Yeah, I just read that.
You just read it.
Oh, you read it.
All right, let me go over to verse 3. Okay. Moshe again in this song over here says, For I proclaim the name of Yahweh. He's making this declaration. He's calling out. He's pronouncing, he's publishing the name of the Most High. Okay? And so it's interesting that when we look at this thing, this song, really, in its beginnings, in its foundations, it's all about the Most High and who he is first. We have to first understand who. These are the teachings. These are instructions. These are the things that Moshe is wanting for the people to be able to understand. First and foremost, we dealing with Yah. For I proclaim the name of Yahweh. Ascribe greatness to our Elohim. Right? This is how this whole thing begins. These are the things that the Most High, that Moshe wants for these people to be able to understand. These are the things that he's and that he is calling for the people to give ear to. The name of the Most High, his character, right? His rapport. Ascribing greatness to the Elohim, magnitude, okay, strength and firmness. It says in verse 4, the rock, speaking about the Most High, the rock, right? He is the rock. His work is perfect. And we think about the idea of the Most High being this rock, this picture of firmness, right? A rock is something that's not pliable, right? A rock is firm, right? A rock is something that doesn't budge, right? A rock is something that exemplifies stability, right? But again, we're speaking about the Most High, who is, it says that he is the rock. Okay, so again, this thing that we're able to look to, if we remember, if we remember from Deuteronomy 31 and 20, what was that verse we just read over here? 21. This thing that when many evils and distresses come upon us, that this song shall answer before them as a witness. One of the things, the main first thing that there is for us to understand is that the Most High is who He is. This is a thing that helps for us to be able to withstand evils and distresses when they come upon us. That Yahweh is the rock. So many times we go through all of these things, these evils and distresses, and all we can do is think about the evil and the distress. But the Most High, knowing our thoughts, because He formed us, knowing our thoughts before they even form inside of us, He made this thing for us to be able to recall in our minds. And the thing that He made for us to recall, the first thing that it talks about is who the Most High is. And so when we're going through these situations, when we're faced with these evil and distresses, instead of looking at these evil and distresses and thinking about how evil and distressful that they are, we should in fact be thinking about the Most High and who He is, the rock, and the greatness of our Elohim. Is that what we're out here doing? Or are you allowing for your evil and your distress to be distressing you? We got this thing over here that was created for our good. And it's not even that complicated of a situation. Understanding who the Most High is. He's the rock. His work is perfect. All His ways are right ruling. He's an El of truth and without unrighteousness. He's without unrighteousness. There ain't no unrighteousness in Him. He's without. Is that a double negative? He's without unrighteousness. He's without unrighteousness.
No. Yeah, that's right.
He ain't got no unrighteousness in Him.
That's a double negative.
That was a double negative.
Righteous and straight is He. And so you mean to tell me that when evil come against me, that all I got to do is think to myself about the character and the quality and the essence of who the Most High is, and I'm sustained through that? That's what He said over there. When evil comes against you, when there's distresses, remember this song. Well, the first part of the song is talking about who the Most High is and His character and His essence. He's the rock. His work is perfect, for all His ways are righteous and right ruling. He's the El of truth without unrighteousness. He's righteous and He's upright. Faithfulness. He's Emunah. Right? Oh. It said over here that He is let's see here, verse 4. He said he is an Elohim of truth. He's an Elohim of truth, which is emunah.
That's a movie too.
Firmness, security, moral fidelity, faith, faithful, faithly, faithness, set office, stability. That thing is in place, is there. He said already when he was the rock that he was an Elohim of truth. Right? He said already when he said he was the rock, because that's the same thing over here. Firmness, security, right? Stability. And so again, when we think about this life that we live, that things go on in it. Like we have real situations that we face and that we come across. But just like, when Yeshua was in the boat with his disciples and all of the things was going on about him, they was in the boat, they was experiencing the things, but yet and still they was with Yeshua, who for all intents and purposes was the maker of all of these things, and yet and still they had fear inside of them. Meanwhile, they had the rock with them. Meanwhile, they had the Elohim of truth with them. So they should have been able to have peace within them, because peace was within them. Right? And this is a message, this is a lesson that we see inside of the Song of Moses. That we have an Elohim who is the Elohim of faithfulness, emunah, of truth. And he's without injustice. He's without, this word here is actually iniquity. He's without olah, evil, iniquity, perverseness. He's without these things. These things don't exist in who he is. What does exist is righteousness and uprightness, which we'll look at a little bit later. But I want to drop down to, let's drop down to verse 11. Read for us, read verse 11.
As an eagle stirs up its nest, flutters over its young, spreading out its wings, taking them up, bearing them on its wings.
Very good. So, again, we're talking about the Most High and how he deals with, first of all, who he is and how he deals with his people. The Most High being like this eagle that stirs up the nest, that takes his wings, the eagle, and flaps the wings to stir up the nest, to cause this wind to blow. Again, it's interesting that we see over here where the imagery is of an eagle, this tangible thing that's causing this wind, this breeze, right? This thing that stirs up. But the imagery is a physical thing that's speaking about non-physical entity, which is the Most High, right? This thing that's causing this wind to come by her wings. That's what I want to talk about for a few moments here. These wings, right? Let's go over to. Let me make this a little bigger here. Let's go over to Ezekiel. Ezekiel verse 8. Read verse 8.
Again I passed by you and looked upon you and saw that your time was the time of carnal love. And I spread my skirt over you and covered your nakedness. And I swore an oath to you and entered into a covenant with you, and you became mine, declares the Master Yahweh.
And I spread my skirt over you, or my wings over you. Here. Kanaf. I spread my kanaf over you. Just like in verse 11, where the eagle spread his wings. This wing, the wings which were this wind creating thing, right? This thing that stirs up and hovers over the youth. This thing that protects them, and this thing that carried them. And over here also in Ezekiel 16, we see where this person, Israel, who is being exemplified as this rebellious person, who was, fell into this situation of uncoveredness, where the Most High comes and covered his people with his skirt, with his wings, with his kanaf. Okay, and so again, this is more of these characteristics of the Most High that we're able to look to in our time of distress when evil is upon us. The fact that the Most High will in fact cover our nakedness, will in fact cover our exposed parts. He will in fact provide protection for us in our time of need. Psalms let's start with Psalms 36. Psalms 36 verse 7.
How precious is your loving commitment, O Elohim, and the sons of men take refuge in the shadow of your wings.
The sons of men take refuge in the shadow of your wings. Your wings make a shadow, and that's where there's refuge. In the shadow of your kanaf. Right? Just like over in Deuteronomy 32 with the eagle and his wings. There's refuge. It's a place of refuge. There's a place of safety. There's a place where you go when there's things that are against you that you can't escape. When you get up under the shadow of his wings. But again, we're talking about these principles, these things that are included in the Song of Moses that we're supposed to be singing, that we're supposed to be knowing and singing in our time of distress when evil is upon us. What does verse 1 say?
Show me favor, Elohim. Show me favor. For in you my being is taking refuge, and in the shadow of your wings I take refuge until destruction passes by.
Okay, my soul is able to take refuge in the shadow of your kanaf until destruction passes. Until these evil that's upon me and these distresses that I'm experiencing pass, my soul is able to take refuge under the shadow of your wings. The shadow that is created by your kanaf. But again, this is only part of what it is that Moses is giving us in this Song of Moses. It's just repeated other places. What's verse 38 say?
Speak to the children of Israel, and you shall say to them to make tzitzit on the corners of their garments throughout their generations, and to put a blue cord in the tzitzit of the corners.
Okay, very good. The fringes in the kanaf, in the borders. These things that you put on the extremities of your garments, the wings of your garments, on the skirt of your garments, that cause you to think about the Most High and His commandments, are also these things that are given in these other places, talking about these wings that are coverings for you in a time of destruction, is all pointing back to the character of the Most High. It's all pointing back to the character of the Most High is the thing, is our refuge, is our protection, is our covering. It all points back to who the Most High is in us and for us. And it's interesting that, this, at least in Deuteronomy anyway, where it's described as these wings, this thing that creates wind, which of course causes us to again think back to John chapter 3 and verse 8, where it's speaking about the Ruach and the wind, which is coming from somewhere, but you don't know where it's coming from. Okay, let's keep on going over here. Let's drop down and look at verse 15. Read for us verse 15.
But Yeshurun grew fat and kicked. You grew fat, you grew thick. You are covered with fat. So he forsook Eloah, who made him, and scorned the rock of his deliverance.
Okay, very good. So we get into the idea of dealing with the character of the Most High and who He is, into the desired response, into the desired response of the Most High's character, and also the actual response. Let's talk about, first of all, the well, if we look at the actual response, I guess the actual response comes from when we think about Israel in this place of being in constant communion with the Most High. These people that were dwelling with the Most High, they were in the situation where the Most High was literally dwelling in the midst of them. They were in the perfect situation. The perfect situation for Israel caused them, it says in verse 25, but Yeshurun grew fat and kicked. You grew fat. We know that Yeshurun is Israel because Moshe's talking to the people. He says, but Yeshurun grew fat and kicked. You grew fat. Well, we know he's speaking to Israel. Yeshurun is in fact Israel. But it's Israel in this situation where they're dwelling with the Most High and receiving all of the blessings that come along with dwelling with the Most High. Growing fat. Right? Being prosperous. You think about, if you think about, some of these ancient pictures of people, they always on kings and royalty put a little chub, on their stomachs, right? Because they're just, they're well sustained. They don't have to do anything. They have people to do things for them all the time.
And they eat. They eat.
Right, that's what I'm saying.
They eat while everybody else.
That's what I'm saying.
Eating the scraps. They eat the good stuff.
Yeah. And so this idea, this imagery over here of Yeshurun grew fat, growing fat, the Most High was providing. He was only providing for the people. And so they were only receiving. Right? They grew fat. You grew fat. You grew thick. You was covered with fat. They were in the best situation. They didn't have to worry about anything. They was in the wilderness for 40 years and their shoes didn't wear out and neither did their clothes. I may have some clothes that's pretty old, maybe 20 years. But that stuff is tethered. It looks old. And if it isn't tethered, it's only because I probably haven't used it that much. But if it was something that I use every day, that stuff ain't lasting 20 years, let alone 40 years. If I had one pair of shoes that I wore, imagine the quality of, what we talking about? In the 2000s and BC, 3000s, what year was this? What are we talking about? Imagine the technology that was involved in shoemaking. I just feel like their shoes were inferior to the shoes that we make in this day and age. I feel like the way that we make shoes today only could have progressed from however it was that they made shoes in those days. I feel like it could only be better now than what it was. And if I wore my work boots, I need a new pair of boots every year. 1 year I need a new pair of
You be
boots.
spending $200 on those boots.
I be getting good boots. I get top of the line boots. I don't get none of these old Kmart special boots. I spend top dollar on boots that I wear every day. And them things don't last me 1 year. But he said that these people, the shoes on their feet did not wear out over these 40 years because he was dwelling in the midst of them. He took care of the people. He provided for everything that they needed. They grew fat. You grew fat and grew thick. He said.
Oh my goodness.
He couldn't even stop at growing fat. He said you grew fat and thick. Hold on. What's he saying? This is some prosperity over here. You waxed fat. Shaman, shine. You was oily. You was oily
Hush, Ari.
and shiny. Like you was just full of Vaseline. Your face was shiny than a mug. And bar and dense. You was dense. You was packed full of things. Like you was dense. You was solid. Right? You had grown. But in the way in which he's saying this, again, you grew fat. You grew thick. You was covered with fat. Yet you forsook Eloah, who made you. He gives Israel all of these. He's telling the people. First of all, he's calling Israel Yeshurun. Talks about the fact that they grew fat and grew thick and was covered with fat. And in spite of all of that, the people forsook the Most High. And so, I always want to talk about this name that's given to Israel, Yeshurun, because we have to look to understand Yeshurun. We have to look and see when the name is used in regards to Israel, and it's used in this time when Israel only has to deal with receiving from the Most High and experiencing his dwelling amongst them and providing for them totally. Right? This is a situation, the perfect situation created for Israel is Israel in this Yeshurun categorization. Right? In a situation where, in fact, they shouldn't be in the place of forsaking the Most High, which causes this to be so ironic, because they're experiencing the perfect situation, yet and still forsaking the one that is providing for them, which doesn't make a lot of sense, right? It's the dog that's biting the hand that feeds them
While they getting fed.
while they're in the middle of getting fed. But I talked about this many times. I want to just talk about it here because we're talking about this idea of Yeshurun. And it's interesting that when we think about Israel as a people, the people of the Most High, it's interesting that we're able to look at the names of Israel and see kind of a breakdown of a process that the Most High has shown us um, a process of growth and a starting place and a destination place. The first thing we can think about and look to is Jacob, Yaakov, right? Who was the supplanter, right? Yaakov, Jacob, the supplanter, right? Yaakov who stole his brother's birthright and blessing, right? He used his physical means to do so. And so when we think about Yaakov, we think about, again, the supplanter, the one who grabs the heel grabber, within the process of, the progression of the growth, the development of the people of the Most High. Jacob is that carnal man. Jacob is that carnal man, right? And so, we see when Jacob's name was changed to Israel, it was changed when he wrestled with the angel, right? When he strived with Elohim and was victorious, right? And so we see with Israel there is a spiritual striving that happens, right? This transformation that happens where he goes from this this physical existence to this spiritual existence. But it's a fight, though. It's a battle, though. Even in that, it's a process. And so it's interesting when we see things like, let's go over to Isaiah. Let's look at Isaiah, because we have to understand that there is, in fact, a process, a necessity for transformation that exists with the people of the Most High. And Israel is not the destination. It's not the final chapter. It's not the end of the road. Yeshurun is. But we're in this situation where we're totally only dependent on the Most High, and existing in His total essence. But let's look over at Isaiah, Yeshayahu, 59. Read verse 20, 20, and 21.
And the Redeemer shall come to Sion, and to those turning from transgression in Yaakov, declares Yahweh. As for me, this is my covenant with them, said Yahweh. My spirit that is upon you and my words that I have put in your mouth shall not be withdrawn from your mouth, nor from the mouth, nor from the mouth of your descendants, descendants, said Yahweh, from this time and forever.
Okay, we see over here where the Most High is speaking to His people, calling them as they're in transgression, by the way, Yaakov, where He already said that that your name is Israel, no longer shall you be called Jacob. But in their time of transgression, where he's calling for the people to turn from their transgression, Israel, pointing towards another time, a greater time, where he put his spirit upon you and my words that he's putting in your mouth, and they won't be withdrawn from your mouth nor from the mouth of your descendants. This is something that's describing the new covenant. This is something that's going beyond the place where at this time Israel ever was at. This is a description of Israel above the categorization of Israel, which is what I'm saying is this place of Yeshurun, the upright ones. But when we look at things like Romans, understanding that when we have the Ruach HaKodesh dwelling on the inside of us, this in fact is not the Yeshurun place, categorization, level. This is still the striving level. This is still the place of striving. Because if we look, let's look over at Romans chapter 6, read verse 19. Start reading at 19 down to 23.
I speak as a man because of the weakness of your flesh. For even as you did present your members as servants of uncleanness and of lawlessness, resulting in lawlessness, so now present your members as servants of righteousness, resulting in set apartness.
He's speaking to people that know and experience Yeshua and the Ruach HaKodesh. He said, for even as you did before present your members as servants of uncleanness. That's what you used to be doing. And lawlessness, resulting in lawlessness. That was your former reality. So now, after you used to do all of those things, now you do something different. Now present your members as servants of righteousness, resulting in holiness or set apartness. He's talking to people who are walking in the Ruach already. These are people who are striving. These are people who are experiencing the Most High from a spiritual perspective, but there's still this situation that exists within them where they strive, where they battle with carnality. Verse 20.
For when you were servants of sin,
that's what you used to be. You used to be servants of sin.
When you were servants of sin, you were free from righteousness.
Mm-hmm.
What fruit, therefore, were you having then, over which you are now ashamed?
You're ashamed of what you used to be. That's what you was. Not what you are currently. That's what you used to be. But now, keep on going.
For the end thereof is death.
But 22.
But now, having been set free from sin and having become servants of Elohim, you have your fruit resulting in set apartness and the end everlasting life. For the wages of sin is death, but the favorable gift of Elohim is everlasting life in Messiah Yeshua.
Okay, so when we look at this over here, it's describing for us Shaul speaking to these people who are followers of Yeshua and causing them to think about the fact that they still strive with Elohim. They still have to deal with and think about the idea of there are things that are supposed to be in my life And there are things that aren't supposed to be in my life. There's a way that I used to be, and that way don't correspond with the way that I am right now. There is still a necessity for there to be a transformation. It's not a total existence of dwelling with the Most High only. There's still this remembrance of what was and the necessity to cause for certain parts of your being to be suppressed. Read verse 6 of chapter 8.
For the mind of the flesh is death, but the mind of the spirit is life and peace.
Again, you're dealing with this thing that's happening on the inside of you, this necessity for you to move to another position. And this is the state of Israel striving to get to that place of Yeshurun. And it's interesting when we think about the Yeshurun place, the thing that's so interesting about its placement in the Song of Moses is that it doesn't make any sense for the way that the people behave after being called Yeshurun. It's nonsensical even. And so when we think about the message that is given to us, it helps us to be able to understand that when we've reached this place of transformation in the Most High, it doesn't make any logical sense for us to be able even to revert backwards to anything other than this place that the Most High has placed us. But not only that, but when we see in the fullness of time the way in which the Most High is working, He created a way that wasn't known at that time in Deuteronomy, but is known for us and looking forward, that we will get to a place where we're totally transformed and this corruptible body will become incorruptible. Where Israel will no longer strive and will be transformed and truly be upright ones. Go ahead.
Are you done with that part? Because I wanted to say something
About
Yeshurun.
Oh yes, go ahead.
A lot of people, Hebrews, mistakenly call Israel Yasharal or Yasharel. And when they do that, they're unknowingly jumping the progression of Israel. Because
You mean phonetically?
I don't know. What
Because they're trying to say Israel, but they're saying
I mean, but are they
something phonetically that it says upright.
is L or of L? When I say Yashar El, that means either Elohim is upright or upright of Elohim.
Yes, phonetically.
Phonetically, yes.
Yes.
Yes. And so what I'm saying is that's kind of blending in the meaning of
It's a hybrid.
Yeshurun.
It's hybrid. It's a hybrid word that doesn't mean anything.
Yes.
I mean, it means something, but it's not real.
It's not what he called. He called Israel Yisrael, which means he shall rule as El, not he is upright as El.
Yeah.
It's two different things, but the Yeshurun brings in the upright component.
Yes.
And so, I guess what I'm saying is that Yasharel jumps the gun.
Yasharal.
Or
Yeah.
Yasharal, however they want to pronounce it.
Yeah.
It's not anything that the Most High called his people, number one.
Yeah.
But it means something that kind of blends in with the Yeshurun thought process, and that's not what we're dealing with.
Yeah. I guess in those people's defense, they're trying to give you an interpretation of Israel. But in doing so, they phonetically made a new word that sounds like something else
It sounds
than what they're
perfect.
trying to say.
Yeah.
I guess in actual Hebronics, it is actually Hebronics.
Yes.
That's so funny. That's so hilarious. It actually is Hebronics. But it's something that we have to understand. I wish that these people would get over this thing, because the facts of the matter is that the Most High, in what He's given us, shows us a process that we have to go through, a process that takes us from a place of carnality, Yaakov, to a place of striving, Yisrael, to a place of dwelling,
Facts.
Yeshurun. That place of dwelling and total dependence on the Ruach HaKodesh. So much so that it's a total dependence. You don't have to worry about anything.
Yeah.
Just like Israel didn't have to worry about anything at that time. Which again makes it so ridiculous for them to have made it to that place. Even when we just look at Deuteronomy, like, to understand what this is, it helps you to understand the total ridiculousness of what's going on. To even speak about Israel in this way, Yeshurun. To understand the fact that they've grown fat. But the reason why they've grown fat is not because they was able to get things for themselves or do this or do that. It's because they were totally provided for by the Most High. And they was totally covered with fat. They was totally covered with the manifestation of the provisions of the Most High.
That's right.
But then they forsook Eloi, who made him, it says. That don't make any sense when you think about it. But that's what happened. But it's prophetic. In this song, it's prophetic because it helps us to see that there's still another level from where we are in this place of experiencing the Most High and still having this battle that we experience. There's a place above it where we're in total dependence, where we literally are upright ones, when we're transformed. And this is what, I think about when I think about this Yeshurun. When I think about, what this is over here. When we get to the place where there is no battle anymore, right? When we have totally been transformed. Let's look at a couple other things over here in regards to this Yeshurun situation. Let's look at 2 Corinthians. But you're so right. But people don't even really understand, because people don't think to understand the language to know that they're in their pursuit of saying one thing, they're actually saying actually a whole other thing. Which to somebody who has even just a general knowledge of the language, you're able to hear this. But these people, of course, reject scholarship.
Reject the language.
Right, and in doing so, reject the language. But let's look at 2 Corinthians 5 and 16. What's that say?
So from now onwards, we know no one according to the flesh. And if we have known Messiah according to the flesh, yet now we no longer know him thus.
Okay, very good. So this is interesting. We think about the idea of in Messiah, we're looking forward. In Messiah, we're looking beyond the carnality. In Messiah, we're looking into the spirit of the man. Right? That's what we see over in this verse, chapter 16. We're looking towards the transformed spiritual man in the people, that we are dealing with. Those that are in Messiah. Let's go to. Let's go down to. First John.
On the piano.
First John. Read verses 1 through 5.
Everyone who believes that Yeshua is the Messiah has been born of Elohim. And anyone who loves the one bringing forth also loves the one having been born of him. By this we know that we love the children of Elohim when we love Elohim and guard his commandments. For this is the love for Elohim, that we guard his commands, and his commands are not heavy.
Mm-hmm.
Because everyone having been born of Elohim overcomes the world, and this is the overcoming that has overcome the world, our belief.
Mm-hmm. Our faith, yeah. Go ahead.
Who is the one who overcomes the world but he who believes that Yeshua is the son of Elohim?
Okay, so even here we see that those who are born of Elohim are regarded as overcomers. We're regarded as those who have overcome something, who have been transformed in the face of something. And so even here we see this idea of a transformation that the people of the Most High have and are in the middle of experiencing. Israel progressing to a higher self. Just like we see with Yaakov is able to transform to a higher self, which is Yisrael. But Yisrael also is able to transcend to a higher self, which is, in fact, Yeshurun. So when let's look at this over here. Let's look at, because this is interesting here. Ephesians. Read Ephesians 2. Read verses 1. Read down from 1 down through verse 7.
1 through 7 says, "And you were dead in trespasses and sins,
in which you once walked according to the course of this world, according to the ruler of the authority of the air, of the spirit that is now working in the sons of disobedience, among whom also we all once lived in the lusts of our flesh, doing the desires of the flesh and of the mind, and were by mature children of wrath, and also the rest.
Yes. But
Elohim, who is rich in compassion, because of his great love with which he loved us, even when we were dead in trespasses, made us alive together with Messiah. By favor you have been saved.
Yes. Keep on going.
7, yeah. And raised us up together, and made us sit together in the heavenlies in Messiah Yeshua, in order to show in the coming ages the exceeding riches of his favor and kindness toward us in Messiah Yeshua.
So we see over here that the Most High has taken us from one place to another. There's a place for us of transformation, where we go from where we was to where we are going, right, to this other places, which is in the heavenlies. And it's interesting that we started out talking about the heavenlies, because this thing that Moshe is declaring to the people is of the heavenlies. And so when we are able to receive that which was created for us from the heavenlies, it causes us to actually be placed in, to sit together with Messiah in the heavenlies.
Yes.
And then look what happens over here. First of all, let's go back, before we go to Ephesians chapter 3, let's go back and see something over in Isaiah 62. Because there's a transformation that Israel needs to experience. This, by the way, this has to be said. You know, people act like understanding your Israel is the end all be all. But the Song of Moses helps us to understand that there's a level above Yisrael. There's a level above Yisrael, which is Yeshurun, which is uprightness. There's a level that we are able to attain as a result of striving and overcoming with Elohim. There's something more than, where we are currently. Look over at Isaiah Yeshayahu 62. Isaiah 62. Read for us 1 through 4.
For Zion's sake I am not silent, and for Yerushalayim's sake I do not rest, until her righteousness goes forth as brightness, and her deliverance as a lamp that burns. And the nations shall see your righteousness, and all sovereigns your esteem. And you shall be called by a new name, which the mouth of Yahweh designates.
He's talking to Israel. He's talking to Israel, who gets to this place where their righteousness goes forth as brightness, and her deliverance as a lamp that burns. The nations see the righteousness. All the kings see the righteousness. And it says, and you shall be called by a new name, which the mouth of Yahweh designates. Something more than Yisrael. What's verse 3 say?
And you shall be a crown of comeliness in the hand of Yahweh, and a royal headdress in the hand of your Elohim. No longer are you called forsaken, and no longer is your land called deserted, but you shall be called Hephzibah, and your land merry. For Yahweh shall delight in you, and your land be merry.
Okay, this here is a place of graduation for Israel. This is not something that comes and then goes again. This is something that happens at the end of the day, where it says, no longer are you called forsaken. Israel been on the Most High's good side and on the bad side, and then back on the good side, and then back on the bad side again, over and over again. Taken and then forsaken. Over and over again. Welcomed in and deserted. On both sides of the situation. But it said no longer forsaken. So this is something that comes after just plain old regular Yisrael. And it said you shall be called by a new name. What do it say in Ephesians? Hold on, did you read all of it? Yeah. What do you say in Ephesians 3? Ephesians 3. Israel's just a beginning. Yisrael is just a beginning. Yasharah.
Would you say Yasharallah?
Oh my goodness. It's just a beginning. Ephesians, what do it say in Ephesians? Ephesians 3, 14. What do it say on 14 and 15?
For this reason I bow my knees to the Father of our Master Yeshua Messiah, from whom all fatherhood in the heavens and earth is named.
Hold on, he said what?
Says, for this reason I bow my knees to the Father of our Master Yeshua Messiah, for whom all fatherhood in the heavens and earth is named.
All fatherhood in the heavens and earth is named. So there is a family name that's connected to the Father. He said, for this reason I bow my knees to the Father, from whom all fatherhood in the heavens and heaven is named. There's a family name. What do it say in Revelation 3 and 12? Revelation 3 verse 12.
He who overcomes, I shall make him a supporting post in the
The
dwelling
overcomer he talking about. There's a thing that first got to be overcome, and then his people Israel is going to be transformed into a new situation, and then we're going to actually have this family name on us. Keep on going.
I shall make him a supporting post in the dwelling place of my Elohim, and he shall by no means go out. And I shall write on him the name of my Elohim, and the name of the city of my Elohim, the renewed Yerushalayim, which comes down out of the heaven from my Elohim, and my renewed name.
My renewed name. This new name. This renewed name. This family name that comes from the Father of the Most High. Let's look at chapter 2. Let's 17. Verse 17. What that say?
He who has an ear, let him hear what the Spirit says to the assembly. To him who overcomes, I shall give him some of the hidden manna to eat. And I shall give him a white stone, and on the stone a renewed name, written which no one knows except him who receives it.
So, by the way, I'm not saying that the new name is Yeshurun, because the new name is a name that no one knows except him who receives the new name. But what I'm saying is that there is a place of graduation that comes beyond Yisrael, and the thing that is the same as Yeshurun is the fact that we'll actually be these upright ones who are totally dependent on and connected to the Most High with no mixture. And lastly, 19.
Yeah.
Read verse 12.
And his eyes were as a flame of fire, and on his head were many crowns, having a name that had been written, which no one had perceived except himself.
All right. So again, just thinking about this idea of Yeshurun, this idea of the upright ones, this idea of being at a level that a level of maturity beyond that of Israel, where again, as Israel, as those who have the Ruach HaKodesh living on the inside of us, we're still in a situation where we have to battle with our carnality. We still have to deal with this flesh that we exist within. But there's coming a time where we're able to get to this place of going beyond these corruptible bodies and moving into a place of incorruptibility, and into this place where we are in fact upright, where just like when we look at Deuteronomy, we'll get to this place where it doesn't make any sense for us to have gone outside of the will of the Most High, because we will literally be upright and dwelling with the Most High. But we'll speak more about Yeshurun actually in the next chapter. But I wanted to drop down to let's see here. Let's drop down to 36. Getting ready to wind up over here. Read for us again, verse 36.
For Yahweh rightly rules his people, and has compassion on his servants. When he sees that their power is gone, and there is no one remaining, shut up or at large.
Read 37.
And he shall say, where are the mighty ones, the rock in whom they sought refuge?
It seems like when we see over here again, looking at the Song of Moses, this thing that we are able to look back to in a time when evil is upon us, and distress, in a time of our distress, we're able to see that the Most High is able to look at our situation, and he's able to look at the things which we looked at and gave power to, and he is able to say to those things where are your mighty ones? Where is the rock in whom they sought refuge? Because we get to these places where we cause these other things to be higher and greater than the Most High, and we put our trust in those things, and the Most High is letting us know that He's over those things. But He lets us get to this place where we need Him, right? Because He said, for Yahweh rightly rules His people and is compassionate. When He sees that our power is gone, that we look towards, and that there's nowhere remaining, right, shut up or at large, when He looks and sees that we're in a place where we can't get any lower, when we can't do nothing else but to look towards Him, to where we should have been looking towards Him the whole time to begin with, He says for us, to us, where are these ones that you put your faith into in forsaking me? Where is this rock that you went to lean on, knowing that that the Most High, in fact, is the rock? The Most High, just like He did with Egypt, and the Egyptians and Pharaoh, makes a mockery of all those that stand against Him. And so He causes us first to be able to see that these things that we put above Him are insufficient before He's able to cause for us, and allows for us to be able to see these things for ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's interesting that this, again, is something that Moses puts into this song of Moses, because it kind of goes through the whole situation, the ups and downs that all lead back to the Most High and His character and who He is, and that the only way that exists, that there is to lean on the Creator and Sustainer of all things. But read for us. Let's keep on going here. Verse 39.
39 says, see now that I am He, and there is no Elohim besides me. I put to death and I make alive. I have wounded and I heal, and from my hand no one delivers.
Okay, so again, the Most High, Yah, is saying, I am He who puts to death. I am He who gives life. Life and death are in the hands of the Most High. I have wounded and I heal. If you have a wound, guess what? The Most High allowed for you to be wounded. He said, I have wounded. He wounded you. The Most High did. But He also is able to heal you. I have wounded, and I heal. Where is that? I thought that hold on one second. If we go down, we didn't get there yet. Go down to 47.
For it is not a worthless word for you, because it is your life. And by this word you prolong your days on the soil which you pass over the Jordan to possess.
Okay, so this is not an idle word for you. This is not a worthless word for you. Indeed, it is your life. These things, these principles, these things that are found within this song of Moses are things that leadeth unto life. And again, these things that are being spoken of, because Yeshua said he's the way, the truth, and the life. These things that are being spoken of are things that are describing for us the character of the Most High. That's what Yeshua is, the character of the Most High in the flesh. These things are pointing us to the character of the Most High, and the only way that we're able to experience the character of the Most High is through his son, Yeshua HaMashiach.
Mm-hmm.
And so when we think about the idea of these words that are being spoken within this song of Moses, and how these things aren't empty words, they're not worthless words, they're not worthless words. These are words that speak life, because they're causing us to look towards the character of the Most High in these times when evil is upon us and when we're in our distresses. And so the way in which we look towards the character of the Most High in when evil is upon us and in our distresses is by looking towards Yeshua HaMashiach and what he has done in us and for us, so that we're able to overcome inside of any situation. And so the same thing that was true for Moshe and Israel at those times is the same thing that's true for us in these times. Because when we think about this song of Moses and what it is, you know, at the end of the day, it's a principle that exists inside of it, that to persevere and to overcome situations, trials, and tribulations, we have to look towards the one who has made us and the one who has given us life, who is Yeshua. But it's interesting, just kind of on an ending note, when we look at going to Revelation, what it says over here in Revelation. We're going to end with this. Thinking about the song of Moses, this thing that we'll always sing, because they're singing it even in Revelation. It's always going to be necessary for us to look towards the goodness, the character of the Most High, to overcome. Because if we look at Revelation 15, matter of fact, let's read 15, 1 through 3. 3 is our verse, but I want to look at the context, so we'll start at 1 down through 3.
And I saw another sign in the heaven, great and marvelous. 7 messengers having the 7 last plagues, for the wrath of Elohim was ended in them. And I saw like a sea of glass mixed with fire, and those overcoming the beast and his image, and his mark and the number of his name, standing on the sea of glass, holding harps of Elohim.
These people over here in the heavenlies, in the heavenlies who've overcome the beast and his image. The only way you overcome the beast and his image is through the power of the Ruach HaKodesh and Yeshua HaMashiach inside of you. Those people who overcame the beast and didn't take the mark or the number of his name, standing in the heavenlies, holding harps, what they doing?
And they sing the song of Moshe.
They are singing the song of Moses,
the servant of Elohim. and the song of the Lamb.
And the song of the Lamb. Interesting. So they're not just singing a new song, the song of the Lamb. They're not just singing about the things that Yeshua HaMashiach, the Lamb of Elohim, has done. They're not only just singing that, but they're singing the song of Moses and the song of the Lamb. Because when we think about the song of Moses, again, what it is recalling and understanding who the Most High is and what he has done for us. What they saying?
Great and marvelous are your works, Yahweh El Shaddai. Righteous and true are your ways, O sovereign of the set apart ones.
It's the same song. It's the same song, ain't it? The song of Moses and the song of the Lamb, both of them, all that they do is sing praises and magnify the Most High. Great and marvelous are your works, Yahweh El Shaddai. Righteous and true. Those words is in the other song. All your ways, O sovereign King of the holy ones. And so it's interesting when we look at this, again, kind of being done with this for now. It's interesting that when we look at this thing that happens, at the end, it's just like how it was at the beginning. This thing that Moshe is saying that he wants for the people of Israel to be doing in their time of trouble, in their time of need, that recalls the greatness and the power of the Most High, is the same thing that those that have already overcome all the wickedness that the world has to offer. And the thing that's the same is the fact that it's only speaking about the goodness of the Most High, which helps for us to understand that there's nothing that we're not able to make it through if only we would just lean on the rock, who is Messiah, who is able to be with us and strengthen us and get us through any situation. Hallelujah. Okay, so that being said, we have any last questions, comments about any of these things over here in the chapter? Come back. Okay. Don't laugh and can't say shalom. Shalom. Yes. Hebronics.
That's right.
Yahweh Shai. Baraka. Shalom, my people. Oh my goodness. It's cracking me up. Oh, yes. Yes. That's so funny. Okay, so that being said, we will say Shabbat Shalom. Y'all willing, we will be back on next Shabbat to look at the next chapter. Two more chapters, Deuteronomy, and we'll start all over again. Alright, so let everybody, y'all willing, you have a good week this week. And we'll say again Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shalom.